How are we? Oh, that's in the background. Is that you in the background, Sean, with your stuff?
No.
Oh, must be me. Sorry about that. It's all going off here. It's all going off here. Welcome to Talking Points. I'm just a bit confused, but I'm going to put the music on, then I can sort it out in the background. We've got lots to talk about. Hello, welcome to Talking Points number 94. I'm Sam Spurs for Life. Sorry about the start. I heard noises in the background. I thought it was my co-commentator, co-star, but it wasn't him. It was me. And I know he's in the house now because I've already told you who he is, but I'm joined in the house by the one and only Sean Hell. Sean Hell. Welcome. How are we doing?
I'm fine. Freshly back from the Levant. With a nice bit of suntan on my lower arms, or should I call that sunburn? But yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, in good shape.
Excellent. And we are joined by another superstar in the house with the long hair. She's giving us long hair vibes today. It looks lovely. FPVP, sometimes positive vibes. Pabs in the house. Welcome.
Hello. How are you guys doing?
Well,
my God, what a vision this is we have before us.
It's just flowing like that. It's like if I believe this red thing is my hair's flowing too. Look, it's just flowing.
Mine is greyed and thinning. Yeah.
Anyway, let's not do the hair thing anyway. Let's talk about more important things or less important things, depending on your view, and that is Tottenham Hotspur. I came onto this stream because yesterday I think it's a setup yesterday. Kind of thinking what was going to be going on with Spurs. So called the show. Levy puts another coin in the slot machine. Then I had one of my mates at the gym tell me, oh yeah, you signed that manager. He was a Liverpool fan, so he was having a laugh. I thought, oh, what's going on? I thought I couldn't have bloody timed it better. But apparently I've spoken to the Oracle, that is Sean Hurl, and he said there's no news as yet official. So we are still waiting. Anyway, I'm going to start with you, Mr. Hurl, since you was on first. Pav, sometimes late, Pav. I'm going to call you that as well. No,
better late than never.
But better late and better looking than never. So, if that's a saying. Anyway, Sean. Arne Slot, I don't know much about him. Final won the Eredivisie, if that's how you say it, because I can't really say it. Dutch League, Premier League, Dutch League. I guess he was following on from the footsteps of Erik ten Hag in terms of that next big thing to come out of the Dutch league, I guess. Ten Hag's obviously made the journey across to Manchester United and has found it interesting, but has got some sort of success with the mouth that is Man United. Arne Slot, final champions. Looks like he's got a good style of play. Everybody keeps talking about all the style of play for football at final has been great. We certainly need better football than we've had in the last few years. What's your thoughts on the possible incoming, another slot in the machine, another coin in the slot machine from Daniel Levy? Is this a masterstroke if it pulls it off? Or is this another appeasement for the fans? What's your whole demeanor?
Well, if it is a slot in a machine, it's probably one from Las Vegas, isn't it? It's almost like it's the last, the last chance saloon for Levy to pull a rabbit out of the hat. As you say, he's had quite a stellar rise, and he's now currently the champion manager, if you like, of the Dutch league, having just clinched the league last weekend, I believe. But it's Dutch managers. Ten Hag has had a tough season. He's made some big decisions, and he's won a trophy, and looks like he's got Manchester United into the Champions League, which, for his first season, has done very well. However, we also have Frank de Boer as an example of a Dutch champion who came to Crystal Palace and couldn't win a pig in a poke, as they say, and was promptly sacked. So who we get? Do we get Ten Hag or do we get a Frank de Boer? I don't know. I'm hoping that we've got I'm hoping that we have a, if you like, a new Martin Jol, because Martin Jol wanted the job, and when he got the job, when Santini packed his bags, he did a great job with it. And I would say probably it was by accident. Again, Levy never seems to get a coach deliberately. It's always by accident that we found someone who seemed to turn the ship and move us towards Europe. You know, we have 5th place finish under Jol, but he also finished, with him being sacked at half-time in a game against Getafe, as I remember as well. So who knows? I mean, I'm hopeful of the style of, if we can play the football of Feyenoord have played this season, for the little bits that I've seen, then it's got to be better than everything we've seen this season. My God, at times I wanted to tear my eyes out, pull them out with my fingers for some of the football that we played this season. So yes, please hope it's due diligence has been done and we've got ourselves a decent manager.
Yeah, by all accounts, as I said, you can't be a bad manager, I guess. You don't win leagues by accident, put it that way. You go over a 38, 36, 40 game season, whatever it is. I don't care if you compare the leagues, the big leagues, Italian, Spanish, our league, the French, Dutch league as well. Portuguese, you could probably put in there as well. You don't win that by accident. Nobody wins a league by accident. So he must be something. I'm not sure what his track record is before, when people like Ten Hag win a league, how he kind of fared then. But I guess if he has got the success, he's going to come into Spurs, if he comes into Spurs, on the back of that. Pav, before we start discussing a little bit more the merits of Mr. Slot, it's just a weird name. It's just a weird name, but I'm going to go with it anyway. What's your thoughts on Arne Slot?
I think Sean pretty much summed it up. I mean, when the rumours first started spouting about him, which was probably like a month ago, I'm not gonna lie here, I didn't know who he was. But then obviously I started to research, and I've been watching how he was with his team as well, and attractive football. That's the one thing as a Spurs fan that you want, is you want attractive football. You don't want none of this boring old football, and it's the same thing over and over again. And I feel like he's that type of manager that can bring that for us. But then again, if he does come to our club, it all depends on how Levy plans it out and whether he backs him or not. Because if he just comes to the club for the sake of it and doesn't get that backing, there's no point at all. He needs to have that backing, and he needs to have that control. And as long as he gets that, then I think he'll be a perfect fit for us.
Yeah, I'm just going through a bit of Wikipedia here because, as I said, I don't know much about him as well, Pav. So I'm kind of just going by the rooms. The reason I haven't really done, when we did this a couple of years ago, we were looking for managers. We did loads of shows. So we did a few shows on different managers, and none of them came to fruition. So I thought, I can't be asked to go and do research on this guy if you don't bloody turn out to be our manager. But it's looking more and more likely. But some of his actual stats here from AZ Alkmaar, who was there from 1st of July 2019 to December 2020, played 58 games, won 32, drew 16, lost 2, goals for 118, goals against 52, goal difference of 66, a win percentage of 55%. Final during them in 2021 July to present, played 100 matches. I think this is accurate. 165, drawn 20, lost 15, 233 goals scored, 108 goals conceded, a goal difference of plus 125, 65% win record. That's all good stuff. Do you know what I mean? You can look at the goal difference. That's a significant difference. Now, I'm not saying that we don't score goals, but we are terrible this season at conceding. That's a good record in terms of goal conceded. It's at least. Oh, hold on a minute. We've got to do this. If I can find it, like what he did to me the other day, he did bloody hell, can't find it. I'm just going to bring him in anyway because he's here. I was going to do the breaking news thing, but boy, you've hidden it. Anyway, he's in the house. It's Spurs. So we're full crew. Yeah, we're just talking about Mr. Slot. His win record at Feyenoord to present is 65%. Played 100 games, won 65 of them. Lost only 15 games out of 100. Have we lost more than that in the season, this season, haven't we? Have we lost 15 games? Someone check it for me, because I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, we may have conceded. No. Hold on. We've lost 14. So we're one short of his record of 100 games in one season, which is disgusting. Let me tell you, that's terrible.
Don't forget the 60 goals conceded and the 60 goals scored.
Oh, that's
first. The only team that's done that before is Tottenham as well, in 2007. So
See, as I was saying to these guys earlier, my mate started a little bit of a rumor saying that we'd signed him, and I came back from the gym thinking, oh God, we're gonna have a show that's pretty much spot on, but we hadn't officially. Do you have any knowledge of Arne Slot, and what's your thoughts about him if he does become Spurs manager?
To be fair, I had to do a Danny Rose. I had to Google him as well. Not much. I've heard much about him, but if you're following the Dutch league, then you'll probably understand what's going on and what he's like as a manager. There's a lot of good things said about him. I mean, I'm just looking at the table. 25 games won, 7 drawn, 1 lost. They've scored 81 goals, conceded 29, with a goal difference of 52. I mean, all right, it's not the Premier League, but it's a decent record. And he's won. I mean, I think they were about 20 odd points behind, weren't they? Mm-hmm. And he's managed to draw it back and win the league. So that's good. That's good. But I don't know. You know what? We do need a fresh face. I didn't want Poch anyway. Didn't want Brendan Rodgers. Didn't want Potter. So you know what? He seems like a decent manager. He seems to know what he's doing.
Seems to. I don't want a manager who seems to know. He has to know what he's doing. If he's coming to Spurs, he definitely has to know.
Van der Vaart obviously is giving his approval as well, which a lot of people are saying, who's Van der Vaart? Is he employed by Spurs? Why is he giving an opinion? So, I mean, Van der Vaart probably knows the Dutch league. He probably knows people in Holland, obviously, because he's Dutch. People must have said stuff to him. So, I don't know. And let me just say something. And I posted this on Twitter, right? He's not here yet. Until he's in the stadium with that shirt, holding it aloft, is when I will believe. Then, I'm not interested. Up until then, Alexander O'Neill said it. It's all hearsay. Yeah. Until he's holding that top in the stadium is when I will believe. Because at the moment, apparently, it's 6 million get out clause. But now they're saying it might be a bit more. His agents wants him to come to Spurs. And they're trying their utmost hardest to keep him at Feyenoord. So, as we always said last season, until they're holding that shirt in the stadium is when I will believe.
Yeah. I'm just going to read out a little bit more about him because he had a playing career. He's 44 years of old, born 17th of September 1978. I'm going by Wikipedia, people. So this is, if you want to fact check it, you can do. Come back to me and let me know. Looks like he played his career in the Netherlands. Started off 1995, played for FC Zwolle, played 164 games for them appearances, scored 50 goals. Ooh, that's not bad as a striker. Well, say not bad. It's okay. It's okay. I was thinking a bit more. But he's played throughout till 2013. His managerial career started in 2019 at AZ Alkmaar, and then final from 2021. So he's only been in the game since our last time we was in the Champions League final. Is that a good thing, or is that not a good thing? Pav, take it away. He's only been in management 4 years.
I mean, it's better than having Ryan Mason, who's not had that experience, right? But then again, 4 years, it's a two-way thing, right? There is the aspect of he's not had enough experience, but then there's the aspect that he's won something. And if he supposedly, it all depends on how his ethos is and how his playing style is. Because he's been in there for 4 years, but that could mean absolutely nothing if he brings to the table what we need.
But what do we need? What do you think we need next season? Is it a case of, because it's going to be a difficult season anyway, we've got a lot of challenges during the summer. Is it more winning football, which we had Jose Conte brought in supposedly to have winning football regardless of style? Or are we now looking for just better style of football regardless of, I say almost regardless of where we finish or regardless of what we do? But is that what you want to see? Because the football has been terrible. And although Harry Kane has kind of salvaged a bit of that in terms of goals, it hasn't been very good to watch. What do you want next year? SVP? SPV,
well,
please.
I personally... Oh, sorry. Personally, I want a better style of football because I don't want to be sitting at a TV being bored and just seeing the same old thing again, but I want it to have a purpose. Okay, I want us to be able to say, yes, we've tried our hardest, because this season we cannot say that the players on that pitch have tried their hardest, because they haven't. As long as us as fans can see those players have played their guts out on that pitch and given their all, I'll be happy.
I'll be happy with that. Sean, what will you be happy with at the start of next season if the bald one, and we like bald people on this show, so you know what I mean, people, balds are good. What do you want to see next season from Mr. Slot if he does become manager?
I want to see front foot attacking football. I want to see us be more expansive. I want us to see us be, you know, if you like, what is the modern trend, which is pressing when they've got the ball, transition play when it's needed. I want to see skillful football encouraged. I want to see a new team. I want to see new players and the back of many more of the players that we've currently got. But I want him to stamp his authority. I hope he's got the glandular fortitude, shall we say, to stamp his authority on, you know, it's my way or the highway. And, you know, from the clips that we've seen online, and you know, it's like it looks like he could be as good as we can get at the moment. I don't think any major, you know, player is going to come to Tottenham at the moment, because it is a bit of we are in a state of transition. There's no doubt about it, and it will be a transitional season. So I'll just to warn you, Sam, no more from the chest of we're going to win the league, and well, we won't be in the Champions League. So that we've saved you from that.
You think I've not learnt my lessons now, Sean?
But anyway, it's but at least we've had our neighbours to laugh at in these last few weeks. So, but it's interesting. Something else I got from Twitter here. There was a shout out to Diane Green, who wrote, "I'm warming to Slots, which means tomorrow he'll end up agreeing to stay at Feyenoord." That's what I'm saying. And ain't that the truth, Ruth? As I replied.
Because the Nagelsmann thing, this is why I'm just so like disjointed from it and like disassociated from it, because Nagelsmann was pretty much done. I heard that he was done. You know, Nagelsmann's coming. He just needs to get a director of football in, blah, blah, blah. Then, of course, didn't talk to him. Okay, fair enough. We ain't talked to him, so that's not going to happen. Then I heard again, he might be back on the table. He might be interested again. Who's making up these stories? I know it's media. I know they've got to sell, you know, spaces on columns, on spaces on bloody internet, or whatever it is. But Sid, you just said it a minute ago. Until he's holding up this shirt, it don't really matter. But the players that's in the club at the moment, again, if we go by the style of football that he wants to employ, have we got players capable of doing that? And if we have, who are they? And if we haven't, who needs to go? Who needs to go?
To be fair, I don't even know what his style of football is.
It must be attacking, because he's listen, I'm just going to give you this. His managerial record at both AZ Alkmaar, Feyenoord, played 158. This is for both teams. Played 158, 197, drawn 36, lost 25, scored 351 goals, conceded 160. So he's got a goal difference of plus 191 in the league. That's good. That's very good. It's brilliant. Dutch league. That's what I'm saying. Dutch league. That's all.
Yeah, that's the Dutch league. I mean,
You're right off the Dutch league.
I think it's a good league. I think
it's a good league, but it's
No,
obviously
right
got it's got power. It's got it's obviously got some team. I mean, this is only Feyenoord's second league championship this century.
Yeah.
So he's had to overhaul PSV and Ajax, and so it's no mean achievement for him to do that in such a short space of time.
No.
Remember last season, I think in the close season last season, he lost the vast bulk of his Feyenoord team. So he's had to rebuild the team with kids this year. And he's won the league with kids. So again, that's encouraging for me. That's thinking he's not prepared. He's not prepared to rely on old stagers. So hopefully a few of the players that Sam was alluding to who are hanging about like a rotten smell should start to feel a bit worried for their future. You're not going to get your contract renewal. This
is what I want, and if he is gonna come, if he is, then I'm sure he's now looking, and he's probably looked at the squad. He's probably been advised as well by certain players or other people as well about what there is at Spurs and what's decent there is and what crap a lot is. He'll probably then be looking, and he'll probably already be thinking if he does want the job. He'll probably be thinking, because I've heard there's one or two players from Feyenoord that he wants to bring with him to Spurs. I think there's I think he's Nkuku or something. I can't remember who he is. But there's one, and then there's a midfielder as well. So he's going to look at that. But what I really, really want is him to look at that shite of players we've got and stamp his authority and say, you know what? Get gone. See you later. I mean, this thing about Dyer's contract now at the moment is not nailed on now, so that's good in a way. And there's other players. I mean, we've got loads coming back from loan as well, which he's got to look at. What does he do with them? So unless he gets assurances as well, he's not just going to walk into that job, expecting what he has this season, Kane situation, and then the players coming back on loan and, stuff like that. I mean, the good thing he's got Spence coming back. He's got Deji coming back on loan. So they're young players. So it's going to be very interesting. But I don't know. Listen, tomorrow apparently is key, wasn't it? Wednesday, they're saying that the negotiations are going to set to complete and whatever. What they didn't say is in which month and what year.
Well, I reckon, as we all know, and a cynic's view, this could be, but I'm very cynical at the moment with Spurs. We've got to renew our season tickets, and there's a few of us on here that have got to renew our season tickets by next week, the 31st, if we want to get in before the 1st of June or before blah, 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 blah. So again, I'm looking at this. All the news is building up, all this blah, blah, fluster. Oh, we're likely to get him, and it might just come out next week. We're 90% nailed on. We're going to get him. He's just got to put his pen to paper. We all get our season tickets. Oh, you know what? Oh, flipping hell. It fell through at the last minute, people. He wants to stay at Feyenoord. They've offered him money. We can't do anything. It's not our fault. That's my cynical view, because there's still talk about Feyenoord want him to stay. They don't want him to go. I wouldn't want him to go if he's got a record like that and he's only been in management 2 years. So he looks like he's a manager that has got something about him just by the record itself. Now, I know we can't always go by the record, but now to come to Spurs, let's forget the cynical view now. Let's say he does come to Spurs. It's not the easiest place in the world to start your Premier League career at. It's a lot of shit to sort out. It looks like the two clubs he's been at, Alkmaar and Feyenoord, there's been some sort of togetherness there. You don't get records like that if there's not a togetherness, unless you are just a mercenary that can get players to play. Alex Ferguson, Jose Mourinho like, Conte like, in fact. And I don't think he's that type of man. I don't know. But Pav, what's going to happen when if he walks through the doors at Spurs in June, July, he's got all these players around him. He wants to play a style of football, because Ten Hag had this. He wanted to play a style of football, but he had Harry Maguire. He soon had to say, nah, mate. Is he going to do the same thing with the likes of Dyer, with the likes of Longley potentially, with the likes of Davis potentially, Sanchez, Tanganga? We go into the midfield. We've got Skip. We've got Højbjerg. We've got Bissouma. We've got Bentancur. I think he's got to be a quality. But what's he going to do with some of these players who might not be good enough? Good enough. Can he coach them?
I hope bloody not. I think as our manager, if he just walked through the door, he needs to see the dead wood that he needs to get rid of. None of this, oh, let's coach.
Oh, wow. Pav's gone. Sid. You're on mute, Sid. You're on mute. You're on mute.
I hope he does exactly what Pav's just said and just cut people off and kick him out.
She's
Oh,
back.
no, I don't know what.
Just like our Spurs season, you disappeared. Just like our season.
Oh, it just sums it up, doesn't it? Oh God, I can't remember what I was saying now. Oh right, so no, yeah, so as our manager, if he walks through the door, he needs to walk through the door and look at the deadwood and just get rid of them. None of this whole thing of, okay, let's coach him up and see if they work for us, because in reality, they're not good enough players. They're not going to work for us. He needs to get rid of them and bring in players that we need. None of this business that this summer transfer window, we bring in players that we really don't need. We need the players that will work for us and that can play to our standard. We need to improve our defence firstly. On midfield, we need to get rid of the likes of Dyer, Sanchez, the rest of them, and bring in players that will work and will work for the manager. Hopefully, our next manager, whether it's Slot or whoever, comes in, Levy will say, right, here you go. I'm going to give you control. You can control what you who or what you want to get. But I don't think that will happen. I have a feeling that whoever comes in, Levy's still going to make the decisions. He's going to control it, and it's just going to be a cycle over again.
What's your thought, Sean?
Yeah, I was just collecting my thoughts there. I think, much as we expect Levy to exert control, I wonder. I mean, looking at the pictures from the weekend, he did kind of look a bit of a broken man, you know. His wife having to reassuringly pat him on the knee as 60,000 people scream for his head. I do feel that we shouldn't underestimate this coach coming in terms of whether he can coach our players. His coach actually represents, his agent represents Haaland, De Ligt, and Pogba too. So she's no mug. She doesn't represent rubbish when it comes to the football world. So she and all you have to do is tell her that he's going to get paid 6 million, 8 million, whatever. And Feyenoord will not be in a position to match that money. And that's where we've got to use the Premier League premium to our advantage. Now, these they may well demand a lot of money out of us, although I think it was probably stipulated in his contract how much they can demand and how long. It depends on how long his contract is. But I feel. I mean, I love the Dutch ethos of total football. There was a time when we were using. I think it was at the time of Martin Jol. We were using this formula called curve football. I don't know. Maybe those in the coaching field will know a bit more than I. But it was about encouraging ball skills and being better with the football. And a bit more spontaneous and what have you. And I just hope that he brings that total football ethic, the Johan Cruyff kind of ethos to us, and that we get the best out of the players that we have. We don't, and of course this is that's the big imponderable. Who's going to be left come the end of June the 30th, when the contracts expire? Because every day you're reading contracts are being torn up, and players who are thinking that they were safe are not necessarily safe anymore. Players are looking for their way out. God bless you, Lucas Moura. You're gone. Thankfully, gone. So there are some players who will leave and we will never see again, and for that I will be eternally grateful.
Sid, what's your concerns? My concerns are his experience, not because lack of experience to come into the Premier League is one thing, but lack of experience and have to deal with what we're going to have to deal with during the summertime is going to be another thing. He has to get rid of some of these players. Some of these players, I've done coaching, and the Curva system was basically very much working with the ball, doing everything with the ball, making sure you're comfortable. So when they do a lot of the coaching stuff, even through pre-season, it's with the ball. Them old school days of running up hills and running and getting your fitness doesn't really form part of it. It's all about being comfortable with the ball. A lot of our players need to have this type of coaching. But what it also shows is not every player can match that sort of level of ability. There's levels in every sport, levels at every professional sport. I'm concerned that the level that he would want to see, some of our players can't do. Could you imagine now the playing out of the back? Now, we've tried to play out of the back with Conte. We've tried to play out of the back with a lot of managers. Successful, I guess, with the Poch era, not so successful post that, in my opinion. Jose managed to do some of it, but it seemed to just be, I don't know what they were trying to do at times with Conte this season. He's going to need to get that right. But I see, again, the blueprint I see with what Ten Hag tried to do when he tried to instill that, it was like, oh my God, some of these players just don't have the basic fundamentals. Who's going to have to go, Sid? Please give me some names that players that, because I can name quite a few that I don't think will fit. Oh my God. Here we go again. Jesus Christ, the house is full. The house is.
I can wear the shirt now. I can wear the shirt now that the Arsenal haven't won the league, so we can get the shirt back out again, guys.
The house is full.
How sad it is that we're judging our season on what happened down the road. But never mind.
But
how are we doing? How are we doing?
We're all right. We're all just going around the table. It's not really anything, I guess, because there's nothing concrete. I was saying to the guys earlier, my Liverpool.
It's looking more concrete though now.
Well, that's what someone told me, that we'd signed him, but that was a Liverpool fan at the gym. He was having a laugh because he just wanted to have a laugh with me. Sean, the Oracle, said no. Sid, the next Oracle, said no. And sometimes Pavi's like, well, until you lift. No, that was Sid. Until you lift the shirt, I don't give an F. That's what I said. That wasn't Pav, by the way. But what's your thoughts on Arne Slot? You might have a bit more knowledge about the Dutch league and how he's progressed in it with Feyenoord. He's only been in management 4 years. He's got a good record, though. 65% win record at Feyenoord. Runners-up in the UEFA Conference League 2021 in his first season, and then won the league title the next season.
He's. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm not one of those people who comes on here and says, you know, I've watched every person, I know every person. The people I watch are the people I watch, and the people I know about are the people I know about. And I didn't really know anything about Arne Slot, to be fair with you. He's 44 years old, so he's kind of, you know, experienced in that sense of management. And he was previously, when he was before he was at Feyenoord, should I say, he was at AZ Alkmaar, and that particular AZ Alkmaar team were very, very good to my memory, and I believe they finished the highest they finished in a long time in their history, and I think they, you know, got a third or second place finish. And there was a few players on that team who I think, you know, in particular Calvin Stengs, who was a very, very technical winger, very good winger, who I think could have probably got bigger moves to clubs. And, you know, Feyenoord kind of, let's just say they were a little bit cheeky in the way they signed him. They, you know, AZ Alkmaar sacked him for sort of negotiating with Feyenoord before he even left them, or while he was still under the employment of AZ Alkmaar, which then Feyenoord led to actually signing him in the end when he was unemployed. So a little bit of shady work from Feyenoord. So I don't care if they really don't like the way that we're moving, because they kind of been bit on their own arse, should I say. So yeah, he joined Feyenoord, and really and truly from there, he's done amazing. I mean, he's got a championship now. He got a very high finish in the season before, and he's developed a lot of players who have moved on. I mean, you know, you look at Malacia, Timber, who could get a move anytime soon, Koku, who's very good. there's a lot of players who I think really have developed under him, and that's the main thing. So a lot of good comparisons. The 4-2-3-1 is a formation that everybody wants to play as well. The young players that he brings in, that he wants to incorporate, the atmosphere amongst the team and the club that he wants to incorporate, all seem like positive things that we can all, associate with progressive and forward-thinking football. So it's just about how, the upstairs want to react. Are they going to give Scott Munn complete control and let him direct the football side of things? Or are they going to get a director of football in? Does it mean that we have a director of football in? I don't know if you guys have discussed that, but does it mean we have a director of football in? Because we've mentioned, and I've heard a lot of reporters mention that, the manager doesn't come first, the director of football does. So does this Arne Slot decision mean that, they've already made their decision on a director of football and he's made his decision on Slot? Yeah.
I want you to continue, but I just want to get final thoughts from Sid because he's going to be popping off soon. So
sorry,
I just want to get some final thoughts from Sid. Is it a goer or a knower? You unmute again, mate. You're still up. There you go.
Do you know what? Like I said, I'm not until the shirt. I know what Darius is saying as well. It's almost done, but until that shirt is there, it's there. Because apparently now they're looking at a director of football, aren't they? So if they appoint him, say tomorrow, and then they go for the director of football that they want, will that director of football want him? So this is a situation where, like you said, Darius, if we're going for a director of football, shouldn't you appoint the director of football first and then let him pick the manager? We seem to be doing it backwards, where we're getting a manager first, then we're going to bring in a director of football. And if they don't get on, we're going to have problems straight away. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what's going on. And all this media telling us he's done and dusted, blah, it's all rubbish until it's actually signed, sealed, and delivered. Is then when we can start saying, all right, not a problem. But my final just a quick answer. Something about players to go. Dyer, Sanchez, Davis, Perisic is going apparently. I'd Højbjerg can go for me. Tanganga can go. There's a lot. Loris is going. Forster will probably go. There's a lot of players. Danjuma apparently wants to stay at Spurs, but he doesn't know what's going on. And my biggest question to you guys before I leave, and you can discuss this after I leave, the biggest obstacle for me at this precise moment and what's niggling me is man's got Champions League football next season. We're going to have nothing. Is he going to sacrifice Champions League football with Feyenoord to come and manage? Yeah, I know. This is it. To manage Spurs, who might not be in Europe at all. That's another question, isn't it? But I know the answer to that anyway, but it's something else that needs to be talked about as well.
Leave it out there. Thoughts? Is he just coming for the money? If he comes, because like I said, Dutch league, you can buy them out. That's why Ten Hag's come over here. Let's not get it twisted. Yeah, he wanted the Man United job. He wanted the big job, blah, blah, blah. But he got paid. He got paid a lot of money. The Dutch can't compete with the money that's in the Premier League. So we can literally poach people. We're poaching the next best manager after him. Is that a good sign, Sean, for you, given how much did we pay? What was Conte was paid? What, 15 million a year? Was it something like that?
Wasn't it 18? Or was it 15?
I think Conte was paid 15, and his backroom staff made it up to 21. I think so. It was that was how much they were getting paid a year. So that Champions League. Feyenoord will not be competitive at Champions League level next season. So in the end, money talks, doesn't it? He could come to Spurs. He's got a really good agent, as I've already indicated, and she'll make sure that if it all goes tits up, he'll be well compensated come the end of his contract, whether it's by moving on or whatever. And let's not get it twisted. Managers talk to clubs all the time. I thought it was very strange AZ sacked him for talking to Feyenoord. Even our beloved Pochettino spoke to Newcastle United and Manchester United while he was at our place, and that's probably why. And
all the time.
And that's why and yet everyone wanted the beloved Maurizio back, because he loves the club. In the end, they get paid handsomely, but they can always get paid more handsomely somewhere else. And so, I mean, I think AZ obviously cut off their nose to spite their face there, Darius. I don't know what you think on that.
I think also, and again, it's a good sign, and I'd love to hear, you and Pavs and you as well, Sam's opinion on what you think of it. But it's a good sign to see that, AZ were not happy with the fact that he was dealing with Feyenoord, and I think also Feyenoord are not happy and have put a record bid or sort of record wage out there for him, and that's only around €3 million or £3 million. So it seems like he's wanted at these clubs. It seems like the clubs that he goes to makes a good impact on them, and they want to keep him. And unfortunately, with the RZ thing, I think that's maybe a dignity thing, a situation where you can't allow that to happen, just because that makes you look a little bit weak if you're allowing him to talk to your rivals. But regardless, I personally don't think it's the money. The question I want to ask you is it time? And I think this is, again, maybe a good sign. Is it time to accept that, the managers that come to Spurs might look at Spurs as the step before the big step, but that might not be a big thing that might not be a bad thing for us. If we have a manager who, like Arne Slot, wants to come to Tottenham, which I don't think he wants to necessarily come for a wage, particularly in terms of a €15 million wage, like a big money payout. I think he wants to come here, earn a good money, earn more than £3 million a year, and also develop and build his reputation to a point where, you look at a Barcelona or a Manchester City, they might look at him and think, okay, let's go and get him. And that's when he can win trophies. He's playing the long game here. And to attract managers like that might not be the bad route to go. I don't know what you guys, and I'd love to get you guys' thoughts on that, but what do you think on that? That might be the route to go for Spurs, not going for these big managers anymore, going for managers who maybe see us as a bit of a stepping stone. Is it a bad way to think about that as our club, or is that the way we should be thinking about, our future managers?
Well, let Pav answer, because Pav hasn't had a chance to, because I've got my thoughts. I'm sure Sean has as well, but what's Pav's initial thoughts on what Darius has just posed?
I mean, there's two ways to look at it. So like Darius said, it could be like us being viewed as, not the big step, but the step before that. Or he could come to us because he sees a project. It depends on what his vision is, because like I said before, all depending on whoever the manager is, they need to look at the club and see that there is something to be done there. He could easily come to us instead of staying at the club he is at the moment, and come to us because he sees a project. He sees that he can build something with us, and he can get us to a position that, we should be at, or where he thinks that he can get us at. Or it could be the stage of, like you said, building up his reputation. But I personally think that if he does come to us, I think he's coming to us because he sees a vision with us. And that's what I want our next manager to be, is to come to us because they themselves can see them at our club being able to do something, being able to build something, rather than just coming to the club for the sake of it before going to another big club.
Good points. It's a good point. Sean, what's, again, based on what?
I mean, I probably come from the Danny Kelly school, and I want a manager who wants to be with us, and whether wants to be with us with a view to a further step forward, then I'm quite happy with that. It's I don't want a manager like we just had, who clearly, as the longer he stayed with us, didn't want to be there, thought he was doing us a favour, was prepared to cuss us out. I've never I've never forgiven Conte. The first people he had to go at before he had to go at Levy and the players was the fans. He said the fans are the problem, and I'm sorry if you start cursing out that you're paying spectators. And given what the support we'd shown Conte, I just, I don't want any of these so-called super coaches with these win now mentality, because it doesn't fit our team. It doesn't fit our team. And I mean, if it's, you know, when Pochettino was appointed, what was your how did you feel?
I was excited because he got them eighth. He got Southampton to 8th place, and that was a massive achievement. But you know, did we ever expect? And I see the point you're coming from, Sean, and you as well, Pav. Poch wanted to come to us because he saw something. And did you ever expect us to be challenging for titles? No, but you definitely saw, you know, an improvement in the team that we saw. So yeah, I think I'm excited for this. I am excited, but I just don't know if it's going to work.
Could a Southampton getting 8th be the same as winning the Dutch Eredivisie?
I think it's I think it's the way he's doing it as well. I think it's the football he's playing and the fact that he's also got a magnificent defensive record and a great offensive record with the youth as well. To build a mentality and to be able to cultivate a mentality with young players takes a lot from a manager. And I think, you know, Sam, you'd be able to attest it's to be able to create a winning mentality with young people. It's difficult when you've got veterans and you've got, you know, seasoned players who know how to do this and know how to win seasons and win leagues. It's not easier, shall I say, but you know, they can also take the load off your back. So he's instilling a lot of mentality and you know, fight into a young team that went on and won the league. And like I said, I think Pav's 100% right. I think he's coming here seeing that, you know, everything around Tottenham and thinking, yeah, if I get a crack at this team, I might be able to prove myself in the best league. And if you can do that like a De Zerbi has, you've got him, Pep, saying he's one of the most influential managers of the last 20 years. And that's off, what, one season in the Prem and a few games against Donetsk when he was, you know, managing there. It's important. So yeah, my only issue is the squad. The squad is so catered to a bunch of different managers and play styles. It's going to take a long time to really gut it and bring in a bunch of players that will adapt to his style of play. That's my only worry is the squad.
That is exactly my point. I want a project manager. I've said that. But with any project manager, you need time. Our blueprint isn't giving them enough time. You can't get him in for 18 months. He has to be there minimum of 3 years. He has to be there Poch sort of length. If we're going to see any real changes in our club, because one thing he's got to do, he's got to get rid of so many players. He's got to get defenders in that can defend. He's got to get ball-playing players in that can play the ball out of the back. He's got to get midfielders who are comfortable in possession, who can take the ball in any situation and then create something from it. He needs forwards and wingers that can be inverted, that are versatile, that can, you know, play them little cute passes, that can make them runs and behind, that can do everything that we want from a footballing perspective. We've been so mechanical in how we've been playing. It's so rigid. When you go to a Dutch system, it's not rigid. As you know, Darius, it's so much about focusing on what you do with the ball, individual. We ain't got enough of them players. And if you get him in and you don't give him time, he looks like a bad manager. If he hits the ground running like a De Zerbi, great, because look what they've done.
Yeah, but you've got to understand with Brighton, it's very different. They lost Bissouma and who else did they lose in the
I agree with you. Let me in my point. But with Brighton, they already had a philosophy. They already had the Graham Potter in place. They had a playing style. All he's done is advance it. He said, I loved what they were doing, and all I've done is tweaked it. We ain't got anything but another blueprint to start from again. He's going to have to rip up everything. De Zerbi didn't have to rip up everything. He lost players, yeah, but he brought players in that could do exactly what he wanted to do in the system. We've got Porro, we've got Udoji coming in. They're wing backs effectively. You know what I mean? Have to make him into fullbacks if he wants to play a 4-2-3-1. Is he going to be flexible? Is he going to be adaptable? Can he say, right, I haven't got the players to play that. Am I going to play 3-4-3? Am I going to play a 5-3-2? What's he going to do when all these challenges get thrown at him if he doesn't get the players he wants? The only other point I'm going to make on this is director of football. The Dutch league works really, really, really well on directors of football, as you know. They have them in place for a reason. It takes the pressure off the coach. They have that conduit between the board and themselves. They can also then leave them, if they trust them, to get everything sorted, player-wise recruitment, money to do to whoever they need to buy in a transfer window. I don't know what we've got at the moment. That's my concerns about him coming in.
My other concern is we're putting a lot of pressure on Slot to get rid of players. What I mean, you know, what he shouldn't be getting rid of the players.
Exactly.
He shouldn't be getting rid of the players. It should be, you know, the director of football and Scott Munn, if he's the sort of board member who's responsible for football affairs. They're the ones who should be getting rid of the footballers, getting rid of the players. I mean, Slot should certainly be consulted on the players that he would like to work with and those he'd like to keep. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he should be getting rid of the players himself. He can choose not to use them. You know, I mean, we saw that with Conte. You know, they bought players for him, and he didn't like Basuma, who
He did. It's like that.
he just went like that. And then Basuma, we know is.
But what about the loan players as well, guys? Like, we've got a bunch of loan players coming back. Where PRTv, again, looking at what he did, he was just sort of papering over cracks, quite literally, where he was sending players on loan because he didn't know how to deal with them at the current moment. And now we've got, you know, some players coming back where.
Let me ask this question then. Who would do well? Pav can answer first, then you can go on, Derek, because I know you probably have and Sean as well. Of the players that we've got coming back, and I'm going to use the significant ones because there's a few players that I know. Ndombele, Lo Celso, Harry Winks. Who would do well out of them three? Would all three do well? Regulon. Oh, flipping off. I forgot about him. Bloody hell. Regulon as well. Who are them players who are going to be coming back? Because we've got Udoji coming in. You know, Spence. Jed Spence is out on bloody loan. Can you believe we put players? Oh, this is what I'm saying. There's so much.
Scarlett, potentially.
Oh, flipping up. I think the good thing about him, I think he'll use players in the youth system. I think he'll want to use players that can play football. So a lot of the youth players, because they've technically been coached in a certain way, will have that technical aspect to it. Because the FA have that technical blueprint that they use a lot of the Dutch stuff. So I hope that those players will have that. Ryan Mason will benefit from it if he stays. Who else would benefit as players, though? The ones that are coming back. Pav, who would you think would have a go? Harry Winks, does he have a future at Spurs under Slot? Pav ain't going to answer. She's still thinking about it.
Thank you, Pav. I was gripping onto my seat then, Pav.
If I'm being honest. Huh?
I was gripping onto my seat waiting for the answer, then I was scared.
Oh, the internet delay made that
I'm just
such
saying
a bloody
the truth.
thing. Because you've got a delay, you're going to have another 5-second delay. You're going to get this in 5 seconds time. Funny as hell. There you go.
Yeah, no, I don't think he. I don't think he'll work for Spurs. If I'm being honest. No, so no to Harry Winks. Who are the other players? We've got so many. It's just
Ndombele, Jed Spence, to name a.
Well, I want to see Jed Spence back. That's a fact. So yeah, bring him back. But Ndombele,
he's back already. He's injured. He's back already. Jed Spence.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah.
I mean, Ndombele, same thing as Winks as well. I don't. Yeah, he's done well with the club that he's been at, but I mean, maybe give him another shot. But I personally don't think that he'll benefit us in any sort of way at all.
I think there's a lot of work. I know. I'd enjoy the football if he can get the players to play that type of football. I know he'll be able to coach because that's what Ten Hag has done. He can improve players. You're right, Sean. Conte, as much as Conte said he did this and that, I don't think he improved the players. I really don't. Yeah, we've got Harry Kane playing. We got players scoring goals like Harry Kane. We had players who maybe... Who else he really improved under him? I'm trying to think. Under Conte, who got really much better? Anybody want to say?
I mean...
Emerson Royale?
Emerson, eventually... Dyer,
not Dyer.
No,
he was terrible. No, he was terrible before he joined. Then he did have a period where he was okay, and now he's terrible again. This is what seems to have happened. They seem to have gone like that, and that's the issue. They've gone up and down and up and down. Brian Hill as well. Oh my gosh, forgot about him.
A lot
Jeez.
of players.
What about that?
You know,
God.
A potential Europa League winner next week.
we're gonna have a title. We're gonna have a title winner in Ndombele, Europa League winner in Brian Hill. What is going on?
No, apart from the fact he's playing Jose.
Yeah, he might do that. Jose might do that again.
Yeah.
Jose will stink the place out, and Roma will win that Europa League.
But there's not many players, is there, Sam? Really, like I'm thinking maybe Spence, Regular. I think Regular might get a chance. You know,
I think Reguilon would do well in any system where he can be allowed to do. I just don't think Conte didn't fancy him. Jose didn't really fancy him. And it was a shame because I think he's got potential, but I don't know what it was with him. He's maybe just didn't suit at the time. Some players just don't suit the league. They go back to Spain or wherever they go and they play better because it suits them. We have to accept that. But what I will say is, I hope Harry Kane now looks at it and thinks to himself, because probably not for this show, because we have to do another one. But is this, we're touching it quickly. I'll start with you, Sean. Is this enough, if this was the appointment that was made, to keep Harry Kane long-term? I'm not talking about just till next year, but long-term at Spurs. If he was given this vision, on a slot, director of football, 3 to 5 year plan, because I think at 34, Harry Kane will still be very effective for Spurs. What's your thoughts? And then Pav and then Darius.
I think if I was Harry Kane, it's going to be a case of suck it and see. I mean, he's definitely going to stay he'll be with us next season. There's no doubt about that. People couldn't, unless we've made a ridiculous offer, I don't see us parting with him. I think he'll just run his contract down, and it may depend on how he feels, say March, April next year. That's the best we can hope for, I think. I noticed you didn't ask me about Harry Winks. I wonder why that was. I'll say no more.
Mojo, you'll have to do a rip up their contract show, Sam. What we will do, that's going to be a long show if we have to do that show. Pav, would this coin in the slot machine, would this be enough to convince Harry Kane to stay long term?
I think it all depends on, the manager that comes in and that kind of vision that the manager has. The manager has to have a clear vision and has to have some sort of project or basis that they're gonna, base their career on, or whatever they do at Spurs. I think Kane needs to be involved in, like, whoever the manager comes in with. I think he needs to be involved in, understanding what the manager needs and what the manager wants to do with the club. I think the past managers that we've had, like Conte, Jose, Nuno, all those sort of past managers that we've had, they've not had this. It's not been a long-term thing. And we need a manager that comes in long term and isn't there for a year or 2 years. We need a manager that's going to be there and that's got a project and has a basis on that. And Kane needs to see that in order for him to then sign a new contract. Because if he doesn't and he sees another manager being brought in for the sake of it, and they're at the club for the sake of, I don't know, making us win a couple of games, maybe getting into the top 5 or whatever, and just not having anything beyond that, he's just going to think, oh, do you know what? It's just going to be another old season. It's going to be a cycle all over again. And if I was in Kane's position, I wouldn't want to stay either. I'd just run my contract out. But if the manager that comes in has this project, explains it to Kane, shows the players that this is what he wants to do, then Kane will look at it and think, okay, do you know what? I can see this happening. Let's sign a new contract and see what happens.
So before you, Darius, if, as Sean said, I think Kane's staying regardless. But if they were to get a bid in, there's a potential that Kane may go at the right price. Does he want to go? I'm not sure. What will be very interesting to me is how long they give him as a contract. If they give Slot a contract, if they give him anything less than 3 years, forget it. That shows me no intent of doing anything other than just, keeping somebody in the job till somebody else comes along. If they give him between 3 and 5 years, that shows me that they've got some intent. Now, Are the finances, are they going to take that risk? Are they going to do this? But it's going to tell everything to the players. It will tell everything to Harry Kane. Remember, Harry Kane, he's got up until the 30th of June next year to sign this contract or whatever his contract runs out. So he could go all the way up until the end of the season next year and say, yeah, I'll sign. But he could also do exactly the opposite and say, oh, fuck off. This is shit. So he's in the best position he could be. So what Slot has to do is convince him of the style of football, what he can bring and how Harry Kane can fit in, and maybe convince Harry Kane you can score even more goals in my system, because that would be, Alan Shearer. That's all that I think that's gone in this guy's mind, in my opinion, if he can't win anything. But if he can see a play better, more goals for me, potential of winning, 3 to 5 year contract for the manager, I could probably stay until 34. I don't need to go, but it's in his hands. Darius, will Kane be over the moon if Arne Slot signs for Spurs?
Right. My thing is, this is so difficult, right? I think Kane's going to inadvertently ruin or halt this progress or process of Arne Slot's, managerial start to Spurs. Simply because I think it's going to be a case of will I, won't I with this contract thing the whole season. And it's going to have a cloud over our heads the whole season. And the anxiety of all these fans who love Harry Kane with all their heart are going to be constantly just thinking, are you going to sign? Aren't you going to sign? And it's going to take away from, what Arne Slot is trying to do at the club. Now, my issue with it is if he goes, we need to start thinking about life after Harry Kane now. And why not, make £100 million off him and, try and start and fast forward that process of finding the replacement early. Because if you're going to lose him anyway, what progress are we going to make in a season that's going to make Harry Kane stay? Are we going to win a trophy? Potentially, yeah. We could win the FA Cup. We could win the Carabao. But we're not in Europe and we're not going to win the Premier League. So Kane staying is only because he's sort of testing the waters to see if this is worth the wait. So I think inadvertently him waiting to see if this is worth it for the whole season is going to make the season maybe not be the greatest, and he will probably leave anyway. So why not cash in now and make the money that we can? I think he will still have a good season, but I just think it's going to be a lot of doubt and anxiety, and I think it's going to cause issues at the club where people just want to find out if he's going to stay. If he signs a contract early, great. Or if he says I'm going to leave at the end of my contract, great. If he says that and comes out early in the season and does that, I'll be very happy. But I think there's going to be a lot of doubt and anxiety going around Spurs just because we don't know what he's going to do. And if he doesn't sign his contract, what was the benefit of keeping him for an extra season? For him to score 20 goals and us to finish a position higher than this season? I'm not too sure.
Couple of things for me in there. You're right in what you're saying. If Kane decides to stay, I don't think he'll back off in terms of his ability, in terms of his attitude. I think he'll want to, because I said that record is out there for him to really achieve and to really go for. But he doesn't need to do anything for the fans because he's done everything he can. All that I would expect him to do is to not leave us with a bit of a cloud, not to say anything. If he comes out and says, this is what I would be, if I was him, I'd come out and say, listen, got a new manager in. I've seen what's been happening in the club for the last few years. I'm just going to wait to the end of my contract and make a decision. Nobody in the world could say, come on, you need to tell us what you're doing, because he's right. I'll make a decision at the end of next season when I've got all the cards in my favour. Why do I need to tell you what I'm doing now? If things go pear-shaped, then I'm going to have to go back on what I said if I said I'm going to stay. It's just going to get messy. Just be honest. I'll be honest and say, listen, new managers come in. We've had Conte, we've had Mason, we've had bloody... I don't know what's happening. I love Spurs, but I'm going to wait to the end of the season. That's what I do for him. Well done, mate. That's all you can say. Don't come out and say I'm staying. Don't come out and say I'm going, because that's going to not be very good. But just say that. I'll stay and see what happens. And I think nobody could begrudge him that. Would you begrudge him that? Would anybody begrudge him that?
I can't, but I just think it's really gonna. I don't know. For me, I just will keep thinking, you're staying. If we do well, if it goes bad, you leave, but what if you're leaving regardless? Because I think he's leaving regardless. That's my point. I think he's leaving regardless. I don't think he's going to sign a contract, even if Arne Slot does do well in this first season. I think he's going to leave regardless. So in my head, I'm just thinking the money that you could make off a potential sale, is it worth it? But then you're going to have to sell to a rival, because I don't think any other clubs in Europe are going to come for him. So there's a lot of things to really question and you know, consider before this Kane saga starts. And I don't even think it started yet, but I don't know, is the money more worth him the one season he stays here, or is the season he stays here more worth the money that we could get for him at the end of this summer?
I think there are 28 reasons why that's rubbish, Darius. I'm sorry.
But he scored 28 goals and we finished 8th this season.
Yeah, but you know, they are 28 goals we can't replace with what we currently have. And I think it would be madness to let him go this season. I think we have to accept. And I don't get that it'll cast that much of a cloud over the team that he's in his last year. I don't get that, because he's chasing a record. He wants to do the best. You know, if at the end of, you know, if it's clear by post Christmas that we're not, you know, we're out of competitions and we're out of, you know, we're not competitive in the league, then, you know, he's going to go anyway. And I don't think that will, you know, no one will blame Harry Kane. Harry Kane's given, you know, 110% to this club and more. I think
without Haaland this season, Sean, we would be bloody raving about how good Harry Kane is to get the amount of goals he's got in this shocking team that we've seen playing this season.
This is the point. What I'm saying is he's going to give us another 28 potentially, and he'll leave on a free, go to the rival for free, improve them, and we're still going to be stuck in the same position, looking for
But Darius, let's improve a rival in 12 months' time, not next week, not next month.
But my point is, I think if we're going to get a sale, and again, I would say no less than 100 million. The 100 million is going to do more for us to replace those 28 goals than an extra season of us doing nothing, and then losing him for free, and then having to replace the 28 goals still with no money now in the bank, knowing that Levy's not going to spend a lot of money anyway.
You know what? I'm agreeing with Sean on this one. I've said, at no circumstances do we sell Kane this season. The reason being, he will not down tools. If he was going to down tools, he would have done that a few seasons ago. He's not down in tools now. He's going to obviously want to play to show, this is what, I'm England captain here. I'm going to show you what I can do. I'm 30, 40 odd goals away from Alan Shearer's record. I want to prove myself in this Premier League. I'm going to score goals. So he's going to do that regardless. I just think that if he goes, we ain't getting them goals next season. No matter who you bring in, unless they're going to do an Erling Haaland, we ain't going to get that amount of goals. Now, if he scores the amount of goals he scored this season, we've got an improvement. We could be Europa League. We could potentially do a Brighton. And if we're really, really lucky and we have a season like this season where not everybody clicks, and we could potentially be challenging top four. Now, no, I'm not even going to go into that argument, but if he sees that progression, Europa League, you win the Europa League next season, then you go into Champions League, blah, blah, blah. There's things that could be done. Without Kane this season coming, we don't have them goals. They don't get replaced. We don't get top 6, 8, in my opinion, because you don't have a goal scorer. We have to fix the defense. There's too much shit to sort out. If you let Harry Kane go, you've got all the shit to sort out and the goal scorer to sort out. It's too much. It's too much. You can sort the defense out. We've got We've got players coming back off loan. So it's not exactly a terrible situation. Yes, we've got to get players in, but everybody says it. Without a goal scorer, you don't win games. You just don't. Without a goal scorer, you just don't win enough games in the Premier League. And we've lost 14 this season with a man who's got 28 goals in the league. Imagine we didn't have him next season with the same sort of defense and we haven't got the improvement in a year that we want.
You know what? I don't know. I never said he was going to down tools. I think he will still score as many goals as he wants to score. My issue is the same issue we're going to have if we sell him now is what we're going to have in a year's time if we don't. And if we win a trophy, amazing, that'll be worth it. But if we don't, and we we bail out again, and we don't have a good season, I think it's like I said, you don't have to replace 28 goals from Harry Kane with just one player. Look at Arsenal; they don't have a prolific goal scorer, but they have 4 players in the top 15 or top 12 goal scorers who have all scored double digits, and you distribute the goals amongst the team, and it doesn't seem like a daunting, challenge to replace the goals. It's always going to be hard to replace Harry Kane. He's an irreplaceable player, but there's other ways of just, you don't have to just find one striker to replace him. You can distribute the goals amongst the team and find other ways to regain those goals lost. But yeah, Harry Kane, I don't know, man.
The problem for me, Darius, is that currently we don't have the acquisition, we don't have the recruitment set up to get a player to replace Harry Kane as well. That's the other thing. Do you trust Levy, Scott Munns, and AN other to recruit a player to replace Harry Kane? I don't know. I think that's too much of a gamble to do this summer. I would personally think it's, I think we're just going to have to bite the bullet and accept he's going to leave next summer. But let's not get rid of it. I don't want us to be like Everton, because that's where we would be without Harry Kane this season. We would be Everton.
Losing 14 games and conceding 62 goals, we would be Everton.
Yeah,
would be.
And and
the other thing on that, Sean. Sorry, other thing on that, Darius, is succession planning. If you've got a year to plan, you've got the likes of Dane Scarlett. Now, I'm not saying he's going to come in and be a Harry Kane, but you've got a bit of planning there. You can see how he adapts. You've got John. There's other players in there forward-wise that you could maybe bring in. And like you said, you don't have to get 28 goals out of them, but if you can get 10, 15 goals out of maybe a forward that's in the academy, Dane Scarlett, let's say, and let's say the other forward they bring in gets another 10, 15, let's say Charles gets better because he's got more of an opportunity. He gets to 10, 15 goals. That's where you can get your goals in and then plan for next season without Harry Kane. Playing for Harry Kane this season, oh man, it'd be horrible. Horrible. Pat, final thoughts. You start with you. Are we going to put a coin in the slot machine, or are we going to walk out the casino?
I've said this already. I'm not believing anything from the media until I get an official confirmation from Spurs that we've signed a manager. Because at this point, they're throwing every name possible out there and linking them with us. And I'm just, no. If this slot thing happens, I am with it. At this moment in time, I'll say yes, I'm with it. If it does, yes, but we need to see a vision. We need to see that he's going to be there for a while and not this bullshit of 1 or 2 years. We need to see a manager that's going to be there, and we can see something that he's going to bring to the club. And then after that will influence what happens next season and what he does with the players, what he does in the summer transfer window, and then what happens to Kane. Yeah, so it all depends on who we get as a manager.
Cool. So are you slotting or slot out then? Come on, Pav. Come on.
Oh, right.
No fence sitting here.
Yes,
no
I'm in.
Slot
in.
That sounds a bit rude, young man.
I know it does, but I tried. I was thinking, as soon as you said that, I was thinking, oh, that doesn't sound good. But I'm going with it anyway. Darius, coin in the slot machine, or are you walking away from the casino?
I'm going to go as far as to say, the icons are running. We're waiting to see if we can get 3 of the same now. I think we've already put the coin in. I think we're waiting to see if we hit the jackpot now. So I think that answers your first question. Whether I'm in, I think I am. Only because what else have we got to lose? Like we've thrown literally everything we can, and nothing is stuck. So maybe going back to what we originally knew Spurs to be, and specifically in the modern era, You know, Pochettino coming in, I think Slot has a lot of similarities to him. And like I said, what else have we got to lose? If it ain't Slot, who else is it going to be? Let's just see if it works. I mean, positive things, you know, happening upstairs with Scott Munn and directors of football. But God, we just have to hope. I think we're all a fingers crossed team at the moment. I think we're all fingers crossed at the moment. So yeah, I am slotting. As rude as that sounds.
Sean, are you putting your well-earned cash in the slot machine?
Do you know what? It's got to be better than what we've had this season, and I include the Turin troll in that. I think it all depends on Rafaela Pimenta tomorrow when she's talking to Feyenoord and whether she can extract her client out of that club. And we'll time will tell. I don't think anything's going to be announced till next week anyway, from what I understand, when the season's over. I'm hoping that, you know, it's a gamble. Everything's a blooming gamble in football.
I like what you did there. I like what you did there. It's a gamble. Talking about slot machines, I like
it's a turn of a coin, isn't it? Yeah, it's a head or tails. Who knows? I'm currently of the candidates that have been strongly linked to us. I'm slot in, but as Pav has quite clearly said, until it appears on www.tottenhamhotspur.com, we don't know. We don't know. And I mean, everything talks to me. You know, it gives me Martin Jol vibes. It gives me that kind of Dutch thing, you know, Johan Cruyff, sexy football. But who knows? Who knows? I hope we get him, and Rafaela, go and extract your man out of Rotterdam.
Right, my final thoughts, and it's going to be a quick one. I'm slot in, provided the coin machine is from Las Vegas and not from Margate. If it's from Margate, we have.
What you got against Margate, my friend?
I got nothing. I love Margate. But it's cheap and cheerful. It's cheap and cheerful. You can afford to go Margate regularly. I can't afford to go Las Vegas too often. That's what I want Slot to show me. I'm too expensive, and I'm going to show you you're going to have all these winnings. There enough
trouble is we're all champagne taste and beer income. That's the problem, isn't it?
That's the problem, man. Enough of these analogies with Slot and all the rest of it. I think Pav is, when she said it, until it actually appears on the Twitter, whatever, tottenhamhotspur.com, when I see it come up on my feed, that's the only time I'm going to believe. Whatever Sky Sports and all these others are saying, F them. I just want to hear it from them. Until that point, Southend, I went there last year. Fantastic is Southend. It's great. Cheap and cheerful as well, but I loved it. Yeah, I think it's going to be done and dusted before 31st of May. Because I think it's all hinging on Daniel Levy knows if he doesn't get this right, people are not going to renew their season. Some people are not going to renew their season tickets, and it's going to be very hard for him to recover for next season. If he gets it right, gets the OF in, I think we'll be all right. And the last comment here, Slot will win us something. Maybe not next year, but he will if he comes in. Mr. K has been popping in these comments all bloody stream. Go on, Lee.
What?
This is Mr. K's having a laugh. He's truly disillusioned with Spurs at the moment, I think.
I mean, to be honest, of the teams that are down the bottom, I want Everton to stay up. I just have a softer spot for them than I do for Leeds or Leicester. Sorry.
Yeah, Leicester would be quite funny to see them go down.
Leicester would be funny. That would be
quite funny.
Not
for David Clark, of course. But then
David
Clark's never shy at taking pops at me. So yeah, a bit of familial disharmony in the Clark household.
David loves his shot.
Leicester.
All right then. I hope you battle Leeds and send them down from STL.com. Another one of our friends in our other networks, FTSN there. So thank you, Toxic Headshot, Mr. K. Thank you for your comments, Mojo. Who else have we had in the stream? We have had
David's always there. Course, Kevin Murray.
David's always in there. Kevin Murray again is always in there as well, giving us all these lyrical dynamite here. Matt Bassett as we call him, because that's what he wants to be called. Stuart Such. think that's enough names out there. So it appears it's slotting. Like I said, people, don't believe anything we say. Don't watch anything the media says. Only watch TottenhamHotspur.com, and then we will know if this manager is going to be. And this stream might actually be a good stream. It might be one of them ones we did 2 years ago that means F all, where we get bloody Ryan Mason signed up for June. No laughing. Okay, it's not laughing matter.
It's not happening after Saturday, I can tell you that.
Laughing.
I am traumatized.
It's not laughing.
I'm traumatized by the second half on Saturday.
Absolutely traumatized. I thought I saw it all.
Well, by the way, we've just been picked to be the featured game on BT Sport this weekend against Leeds.
Yay!
Oh, fabulous.
At least we've got some relevance. If we send Leeds down, that'll be funny as well. So I'm going to say Leeds and Leicester just for that reason as well.
Sam Allardyce is actually looking forward to playing Spurs.
Of course
he said, "Oh, if it's Spurs, I'm okay with that. I'm good with that." He said, "That's cheeky as hell. I'm good with that." Oh man. That's horrible to talk about our team like that.
But
anyway,
it does mean that we might get the Conference League if we win, doesn't it?
Oh, I don't want it.
I don't know. No.
I hate you. I hate you, Euro snobs.
I'm snobby. I'll put that up there. I'm snobby. I've got my caveat. I want Champions League, Europa League, or nothing.
Shocking, I'm in every competition. Attitude. I just want to win anything.
Billy Nicholson, if we're not in Europe, we're nothing. Remember that one, Darius. Know your history.
We're nothing.
Know your history.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, you Spurs.
It's not Mr. K. Snot will make us proud. He's having a right laugh today, isn't he, Mr. K?
He loves it.
He's having a right pop. But that's it. We're done. We got an hour and 22 minutes. That's been a long one, but I think it's been eventful.
Have you set aside 3 hours for the who should stay and who should go one yet?
Oh God, that's going to be one of the longest videos of all time when we do that.
Proper long one.
That's going to be awful. We're going to have to go through about 2 pages of players. We're going to have no players left.
Well, no, I don't have to do any research. I don't need to do research on who I think needs to go. I know who needs to go. Thank you very much, Sean. FPVP, sometimes positive vibes, Pav. Very good today. Very good. Darius 3K, welcome back again. I hope to see you more on the streams. We've got the bloody last game of the season, and I can't wait for the season to be done. We've got a lot to go off in the summertime. We've got a lot. Spurs are going to be in the news media. Let's hope it's positive more than negative that we've seen over the last few weeks. People, thank you very much. Put your like. Should I say? Put your comments in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel. PRTv changes next season, but it's all going to be the same, if that makes sense. Sean, Darius, Pav, thank you very much. Let me find the music to go out with, and I believe this is it. See ya.
It's just different.